Counted, delegate totals still being hashed out. New Mexico still too close to call. Just a few hundred votes separating Clinton and Obama. Nationally, a similar story. Clinton with a slight lead among allocated delegates from Super Tuesday's voting, 786 to 775. The total tally to date finding Obama up just 4 delegates. But guess what? All the big campaign rallies, primaries, caucuses may not matter. Because if the race remains close, by the time the Democratic convention rolls around, it'll be 796 party insiders, so-called superdelegates, who will decide who wins. It is hard to believe that they make up nearly 40% of the delegates needed to clinch the nomination. They're Democratic senators and members of Congress, former presidents, officials working at the National Democratic Committee, party VIPs, and normally their super status gets them a nice trip to hang out at the convention. But this year, they very well may decide the outcome. Can this really happen? Florida delegates, based on actual voters, won't count on the Democratic side, but no accountability superdelegates from other states do? I'm calling for all superdelegates to step aside. Let the voters decide who the nominee will be. We already had one crisis of voter confidence with Bush v. Gore. We don't need another. Craig Crawford and Pat Buchanan are back with me. Pat, I mean, this doesn't, to make, as a Washington outsider, as I am, this makes no sense.
Well, I think it does make some sense. I agree with you on the party hacks working at the National Committee. But look, if you got elected congressmen and senators, what happens when you have an electoral college that's deadlocked? It goes to the Congress of the United States to settle. I can understand that if you have a deadlock convention. But I think I tend to agree with you on this. If you've got a deadlock and no one has the votes, then I think the idea of senators and congressmen getting
I am willing to say if it is an exactly dead even, meaning if their delegate numbers are exactly even, I'm willing to leave it up to a group of superdelegates to decide. Right. Absent that, I don't want to hear from them.
But look, there's a reason for this, and that is to get the people who are concerned most about the party and who have been elected. They can, I think,
not the people, not the people, not the voters. We got to get people like you, who are the party insiders, telling them what.
You think I'm an insider?
You used to be.
That's how far outside you are.
You used to be.
I mean,
yeah,
exactly. The Democratic Party, this was a trade-off that was very important when the Democratic Party went to this proportional system. I mean, if they had winner-take-all delegates like the Republicans do, they wouldn't have to worry about the sort of deadlock, the sort of chaos that this proportional system represents. Yeah. And I think they do have to have some sort of mechanism. Now, one thing to remember, so many of these are elected officials. If they go against, if they vote for some candidate that their own state, their state's voters didn't go for in their primary, they're going to have political problems at home. So they'll be pressured to do what their voters did.
Let me read you. This is Elaine Kamarack, a Democratic superdelegate who's endorsed Hillary Clinton. They call you. They send you things. They invite you to things. They have people who know you call you. I mean, I get even as an outsider that that's what happens in politics. But
and you know, this happened with Gary Hart
but it seems to me,
Walter Mondale.
But as an outsider, Craig, it just seems crazy, the idea that 796, we're 796.
It's too many.
Gary
Hart is too many. If you had 150,
Gary Hart tells the story from when he ran against Walter Mondale, and this happened where superdelegates made the decision back in that race between Hart and Mondale. Hart tells the story that he personally called every superdelegate, and one of them told him that her husband worked for a state highway department and was told that he would lose his job if she didn't vote for Mondale.
But this is such a paternalistic system. It's basically saying, we the party, we know. We want to let the voters have their say. We want to let the voters have their say.
We are part of the party. It doesn't say with the entire thing. We are part of it.
But again, it's saying the purpose of this, Craig, in the post-McGovern world was to say we don't want another George McGovern, where we want to make sure that the party insiders can fix everything.
Is that an unreasonable statement?
Wait a second. George McGovern only won because California had winner-take-all delegates. Let's not forget that. But I got to make a trade. I'll make this trade. We'll do away with superdelegates if you'll seat my home state, Florida, and count its delegates at the convention. How's that?
I think the notion that superdelegates count and Florida delegates don't count is crazy.
That's where you look.
Superdelegates outside of Florida.
Michigan and Florida, it was agreed upon that they would get no delegate.
I know.
If you, let me tell you, if they go in there and they see, and it's a, let's say Obama's a little bit ahead. He wouldn't be. Hillary would be a little bit ahead. Gets control of the Credentials Committee, seats Michigan and seats Florida. It'll be Chicago 1968, and I was there. And it's a lot of fun.
And I'll tell you where I was. In 2000, I was covering Bush v. Gore, and I guarantee you we're going to hear the same people who were complaining about Bush v. Gore complaining on the other side this time. Right. They're going to be saying, well, wait, you know, the same people who were...
You know, you got a point when you got these hacks or people working for the Highway Commission whose job depends on it, but you can hold senators and congressmen and governors accountable.
I'm staying on this one. We're staying on this one. I want to invite the superdelegates to come.
Superdelegates are going to decide.
And right now they're more Hillary they're more Clinton superdelegates than Obama. I don't even care who's got more. All I care about is the fact that the people who are voting should have their votes counted, and not this idea
counted, and then the other ones are counted.
That the anti-Pat Buchanan's inside the party.
1.5 million Democrats in Florida deserve to have their votes counted.
Craig Crawford and Pat Buchanan, thanks a lot.